conversations sometimes can be just incredibly mind-numbingly boring. And we've all been there, right? Conversations where you leave and you feel that you got no value from it, and secondly, that you could have scripted how the conversation would go anyway. And for my friends who are from the UK, I'm sure you're familiar with the typical flow of conversation, which is hey, hello, how are you? Followed by, what do you do for work? Followed by maybe something like a, what are you doing later, if you're lucky, as a treat. And it's a common thing, this, and it's actually a reason why a lot of people find no value in what they consider small talk, and also a reason why we get bored when we speak with people. And when we get bored when we speak with others, we are boring ourselves, right? And it's just a reinforcing cycle. So here are 3 things that you can do in your next conversations to not be boring. And number 1 really is about asking unusual questions. And it's a good one for people who feel that sometimes, I don't know what to say in a conversation. Because, hey, the magic of this one is by asking the right questions, you're actually placing the opportunity to speak in the hands of the person with whom you're speaking. And what do I mean by an unusual question? Well, let's take the most common question that's asked in conversations these days, and that is, how are you? Or how are you doing? Well, when you hear that question as someone who's being spoken to, we all know the standard response. It's in the back of our heads and we immediately unleash it. In my case, it's, I'm alright, thanks, how are you? Well, what we want in a conversation that's not boring is an answer that is not standard. So, how are you? Take that. How can we make it not standard? We can have some fun with it. How are you doing on a scale of 1 to 50? Even better, pick a weird number. How are you doing on a scale of 1 to 37? Now, what this does is it gets the other person's mind in a frame of thinking, because that's not something that they immediately have an answer to, right? So they'll start thinking, well, how do I evaluate this? And it'll get them opening up, as well as being pleasantly surprised by the fact you've asked a question that's not that usual and not the same thing they've heard all evening. And this extends to asking questions that, for example, take account of what the person you're speaking with is interested in. Consider asking them questions that they've not been asked before, based on what you pick up in conversation. So, for example, if they mention one of their interests, ask a question that maybe other people don't ask them about. And secondly, how you can avoid having a boring conversation is by having an opinion. Now, this is one of the things that we have to use and employ tentatively, because having an opinion is one of the potentially one of the things that many people have as a weakness, actually, because these opinions might be formed out of ill information or misguided information. But the key thing in a conversation is to be willing to have an opinion, and this opinion could actually be that you don't know enough to make a solid judgment about it, but actually be aware of that. And when you have that kind of situation where you want to make sure, you want to find an opinion, again, see number 1, ask questions to the person you're speaking with and get their perspective, so you can actually inform your own opinion on whatever topic it is that they're talking about. So making sure that you're willing to actually put something forward, even if it is your inability to have a firm opinion, it's really valuable, because if you don't do that, you end up having silence. You end up having those awkward pauses where you just don't know what to say, and the conversation just doesn't progress. Whereas if you put together and put forward something unique to you, or some kind of proposition, it advances the conversation, even if that proposition is that you want to learn more about a particular topic. And third, finally, well, you might ask me, Mohammed, how am I going to know what questions to ask if I don't know anything about the topic they're talking about? How can I have an opinion on a topic that I might not know about, but that might be of interest to them? Well, thirdly, the key thing to avoid having boring conversations is to live life. How many things that we encounter in life inform our own experiences and our conversations and topics? An example of this is where, reading books or going to theatre plays or watching movies, all of these things inform our daily conversation because it gives us topics that we can touch upon in our conversation. So the more that we put ourselves out there, the more actually we get to live life and enjoy it in the moment, but also bring those lived experiences to our conversations that we have going forwards. And those things will help us do the first two things of asking questions, and secondly, bringing our opinion to the table on topics in conversations. So if you want to avoid having boring conversations and being boring to conversate with, do those three things. Ask questions, have an opinion on something, even if that opinion is that you want to learn more about it, and thirdly, live life and enjoy new things.